Grace and peace, fellow family of St. Luke. First, I want to say that I think that the call process is very much on track again, despite our recent disappointment. We've had good meetings with the ministry board, with the call committee, with Reverend Robert Beekman, the bishop's representative for this process. And I understand we had a very good and clarifying voters meeting as well. I really believe in and trust our leaders. They are doing a wonderful job. And I do believe that this process is moving along again and that the Holy Spirit is guiding it. Second, this evening, Wednesday, I will be taking my turn leading one of our sessions for the Lakeview Lutheran Parish. Our series has been about hospitality, and my session will be about the hospitality of peacemaking. I've described to you before my participation in a peace process sponsored by the country of Norway. They export peace. They were in Sri Lanka. They've been in peace processes around the world trying to foster, help people talk to each other and make peace. And so they began a back channel for peace with Abrahamic dialogues. Abrahamic meaning Muslim, Christian, Jewish, all who have the source of our faith share a source of Abraham as one of our descendants in the faith. And so we have been having these meetings for about 15 years now. Interfaith religious leaders from the United States meeting religious leaders from Iran, and that later broadened to academics, political leaders, and others. So these meetings helped iterate the what became the nuclear accords. When we started, these were two countries that didn't understand each other and could possibly go to war. There was one incident that, for me, helped describe the depth of the relationships we were building in the service to peace. And it had to do with a sharp dialogue I had with Ayatollah, one of the main leaders in Iran. And he argued that you Western religious leaders are not serious. You're dilettantes because you would allow God to be mocked. He referenced Salman Rushdie's book, Satanic Verses, the Copenhagen cartoons depicting Muhammad, and the movie The Last Temptation of Christ. I shut back. We don't understand your fatwas condemning people to death for something they said. And he pushed me further and demanded a better answer. In fact, he slammed his fist down on the table and said, people who mock God are an infection on the life of the faithful, leading people astray, hurting the faith of the common person. I want you to answer me about whether there are limits to freedom and what you as a religious leader are willing to do to not have the faith of simple people assaulted by these mockeries of God. I demand a better answer, and I demand it now. And he pounded the table again, and the Norwegian who was running the meeting said, we will now take a break, and then Pastor Bouman, Bishop Bouman, you will answer the Ayatollah, yes? So we took a break. What do you say? I began by simply speaking the Beatitudes. Blessed are the kind, blessed are the merciful, blessed are the peacemakers. And then I replied, interfaith conversation begins with faith. If we can see one another through each other's eyes, we will gain deeper understanding. There's so much in our religions we share. We agree that Jesus is a great prophet and a holy religious leader. But you will never understand a Christian unless you understand that for Christians, Jesus is the very expression of God among us. Truly human, truly God. And you will never understand a Christian unless you understand that it was the very willingness of Jesus to be mocked, to be hurt, to be vulnerable, to be put to death on the cross. This is very hard to explain, but Christians believe that at the cross, in God's willingness to be vulnerable through Jesus, even to giving his life, that this is in some way the beginning of the peace, reconciliation, and renewal of all things, including our relationship. I also said that when you describe people as an infection, and you have a president that denies the Holocaust, we need some deep conversation about that too. The next day, during a bus tour of Lisbon, that Ayatollah and some others, including an interpreter, came to the back of the bus to converse with us. He asked, "Why did Jesus have to die on the cross?" Do you want the religious reason, or the theological reason, or the historical reason? I said. Both, he said. And for an hour, in the back of the bus, we talked about the cross of Jesus Christ. Again, not to convert, but for mutual understanding as a birthplace for peace. So, I hope some of you will join me tonight as I share some more of this story of the hospitality of our religious traditions leading towards peace. And may God's peace be with all of us, especially in our troubled world today.